Welcome to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast, brought to you by Phoenix Boats. Now, here are your hosts, Alabama Bass Trail Program Director, Kate Donaldson.
Welcome into the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I'm Kay Donaldson, the director of the Alabama Bass Trail, and your host for this week's podcast. And finally, we had decent weather for an Alabama Bass Trail event. I won't say decent weather leading up to the Alabama Bass Trail event, but we certainly had really good weather on Saturday for what turned out to be a fantastic event. And we are going to have the winners on, Mr. Josh Chapple and Paul Davis. They took home over $25,000 for this win, considering the Alabama Bass Trail money and all of the other contingency money that is in play on the Alabama Bass Trail. I do want to talk a little bit about the tournament before we get them on, and I'm not going to tarry too long, but I do want to talk about the tournament. One of the things that Luke Duncan and I said last week was, you can expect a lot of limits. You're going to hear him say 5-fish limit coming to the stage a lot. And that is exactly what happened. I've got the bait report here, and this is a report that John and our team put together that the state doesn't require us to do, but they ask us to do to get an overall picture of the lake. So this is for Logan Martin on April the 13th. We ended up having 219 teams fish on Saturday. Very important thing here. 216 teams weighed in, okay? 210 limits weighed in. It's pretty impressive. Total weight, 2,328.73 pounds. There were 1,073 fish caught. 1,064 of those were released back to the water. We had 11 bass weighed in over 5 pounds, with the big fish being 5.89. So out of that 1,073 bass that were weighed in, 413 largemouth, 660 spotted bass. So to me, those are really intriguing numbers. We have heard over the past several years of the concern of the largemouth population in the Coosa River. And to me, I think that's almost 40% of the fish that were weighed in were spotted bass. Were largemouth bass. So that's pretty encouraging, looking, in past years and everything. So I'm excited about that. I'll actually take a minute here in just a few minutes and get the report from 2022 or 2023 so we can see how that compares. One of the things that Luke and I also talked about is the number of limits that we thought we would see between that 9-pound and 11-pound mark. And that ended up being 99 bags fell between that 9-pound limit and the 11-pound. 9 pounds, we had 34 bags in that 9-pound range. We had 30 bags in the 11-pound range and 35 bags in that 10-pound range. So it was really good. Really early in the morning, the lake showed out. We saw a lot of fish catches, saw a lot of people culling, and even our winners said that they had their limit within the first 50 minutes of the tournament. So it was a fast and furious event. We did not get Mark McKeag, Tim Hurst on camera on live when they went on a flurry and caught 7 to 8 fish, just bam, bam, bam. But we did have it on the camera. We just didn't have it in the live view, so we weren't able to show you that on live, but hopefully that'll make part of the show. I've got the bait report pulled up here from 2023, so let's see how it compares. Last year we had 912 bass weighed in. We had 210 teams that fished, so we had 912. Last year we had 536 largemouth and 375, I believe that's correct. Let me make that a little bit bigger. 536 largemouth, 376 spotted bass. So compared to this year, we had a lot more spotted bass caught and weighed in 2024. So real interesting there, but a great tournament overall. We got new winners on the Alabama Bass Trail, which I think a lot of people would find that this is odd that, they have not won an event before. Josh Chapple, Paul Davis, been in the top a lot of times, probably the closest second place finish in all Alabama Bass Trail history 2 years ago on Lake Martin. I think it was 0.02 is what the difference was between first and second place when Mike McCullers, Slade McCullers edged them out for that win. So, but we're going to get them on here in just a little bit. We're going to talk about fishing across the state of Alabama after we talk to them, just because of timing purposes for them and getting to record this podcast. But we'll be back in just a moment with your winners from Logan Martin Lake, Josh Chapple, Paul Davis, getting their first win on Logan Martin on the home pond, getting that monkey off their back. But we'll be right back in just a few minutes on the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. We'll be right back.
Research and development is more than just time in the shop for us. It's time out here. Sweating the details. Making boats that work as well in the real world as they do on paper. From our R&D team to our anglers on the water, we have the knowledge and passion to build you the finest fishing platform in the world.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. And as promised, your brand new ABT champions, Josh Chapple, Paul Davis. Welcome to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Hey, it's one surefire way to get on the podcast is to win a tournament.
It's a good time to get on a podcast.
It's a good time. It's a good time. You guys have fished the Alabama Bass Trail for a long time. You fished both divisions. You fished the 100s, and narrowly escaping victory before, very narrowly. So we're not going to talk about that. We're going to focus on all good things today. On your home pond, that had to feel good to be able, and amongst a lot of your peers, guys that you fish against in several different trails, that had to feel really good.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Paul, you're usually a man of few words, so I'm going to make you talk this time. We were able to capture you on the drone with one of the fish catches. How fast did y'all have your limit, your first limit of the day?
Probably within the first, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. We had a limit, pretty quick. And then, we started calling, and I think we weighed in a couple from the first spot we started at, but we had a good limit, probably 12, 13 pounds. So we felt comfortable to go, try to win it and fish for big ones the rest of the day.
Josh, how far did y'all travel during the day? I know where you started because we had a tracker on you. Of course, I'm watching lots of teams. How far did y'all travel throughout the day?
We actually used most of the lake, probably from 2 or 3 miles above the ramp all the way down to Chapple Creek area, which we call the park, where the baseball fields and all that stuff, or that whole creek. Kind of fished all the way down through there. But yeah, used a lot of the lake. Normally in these things, it's kind of a sin to do that because you get in a bad rhythm. But knowing the lake so good, we felt comfortable trying to do that.
Okay. 1952, you had a 581. That was not the big fish of the tournament, but that was the anchor in your bag. At any point during the day, did you think that was going to be enough to win the tournament, Josh?
No, because in these things we've learned it's probably never enough. They're too good, and we thought somewhere around 20 pounds would win. And to be honest with you, I didn't think we had 19 and a half until we put them in our bag. We don't weigh every one of our fish and all that, but when Paul started putting them in the bag and we were standing there in line, I told him, that may go over 19. He said, I think so too. So, but no, to answer your question, no, you don't ever think it's enough in these things because it's usually not. We've learned that the hard way.
Well, different than Lake Martin, you guys weighed in fairly early. So you guys pretty much set the pace. I think you were about 47 in that second flight. Okay. So Paul, weighing in early, you got the lead, 1952. How was that to have to sit through another 150, 170 boats?
It wasn't too bad because I figured we would get bumped anyway, the way, with our track record. So, it wasn't really bad until right there at the end, especially when Tucker weighed in, and then after that we kind of figured we had it.
Well, I know the guys that won the week before are friends of y'all's, Daniel and Jared, and they had won with a little over 20 pounds last weekend at the Sylacauga Marine Trail. I know in my mind, I felt like I needed them to weigh in before I could really start the polygraph. And then Terry Tucker came up and was like, you picked me. And I did. I picked him in my top 6. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. For me as an organizer, I want to get that polygraph started. Like in that 4th flight, 5th flight, didn't happen. I had to wait till the 9th flight came in to see what their bags looked like. And I can't remember what Daniel and Jared had, but they seemed to be very supportive of you guys after they weighed in.
Oh yeah, they're two good
they're
dudes
good friends of ours. Yeah, we room together on the road, and they've been on them at Logan Martin. I mean, they've been having over 20 the last couple of weeks, so they've been around them for sure. So we knew to watch out for them.
A lot of good anglers in the field that you guys bested this time. I was going to pull the results up here. Terry Tucker, Jeremy Green, that's a scary team, especially on the Coosa River. And I think they were a little surprised at their weight. They knew it was going to be close. 19 pounds is what they had. David Mims, Chris Masters. I guess Chris is from that area, immediately from that area. And then when you look on down the line, the people I know that Luke brought up to you is Mark McKeag, Tim Hurst. I mean, they pretty much made their name on the Coosa River, but there's another team. I don't know how familiar you are with them. You may be Tyler Malone and Cade Law. They came in 11th here, but they have had a phenomenal season this year. Do y'all fish around them much?
I don't really
so.
know.
Okay.
Are they younger? Are they
They
younger
are very,
guys?
yeah,
Like,
they're young. Yeah,
okay, I
like
want to
college
say for
kids, I
some,
think.
does he fish at Southern Union?
You may. One of them
I
is
want to. Because my buddy
Beatsville.
Jackson's their. Okay, my
Yeah.
buddy Jackson's their fishing coach or whatever. And I could have swore he told me that he fished at Southern Union for him. So he was
Okay.
real good at Lake Martin, something like that.
Yeah, I think they had a good finish there. Let's talk about your day. You started off about miles, you said, above the ramp, and talk about that
Yes.
area, Josh, if you would.
It's just the river section, kind of where most of these lakes, most of the lakes on Coosa River, they're riverish, what I call riverish up the lake, and just got little flats off of them. To be honest with you, traditionally we don't fish in that area a lot. We kind of looked at it and practiced. We always do that because when on a lake that so good, you kind of don't want to go to your so-called best areas or whatever you think the best areas are. And we've gotten the chance to fish here a while, and we just kind of Paul went up there Friday and had a few bites. And Friday I had a really terrible practice. Actually, I didn't get a lot of bites, so I was kind of worried about it. But the area up there is just traditionally not what we do, but there are a lot of big fish that live in that area. So we thought largemouth would win. Traditionally, there's a lot of largemouth that are in that area up there. So we thought it'd be in our best interest if we wanted to win, to use that area.
Paul, did y'all have all largemouth?
We had 4 largemouth in one spot.
Okay. But you had a big spot, right? I mean, that spot was a big spot.
One up 4. Yep.
Okay. I know in the wrap-up interview, y'all talked about pre-spawners, Paul. What stage in the spawn do you think Logan Martin is at right now?
Probably, honestly, all 3, but mainly, we wanted to go after pre-spawners. We didn't even really look for spawners in practice. There's some on bed because we caught a couple off bed last weekend in another tournament, but we just never saw any big ones on bed. So we just we knew there's still some out there waiting, and I think some of these fish wait for the water to come up before they go to spawn anyway. So that's what we targeted, just pre-spawners, and we knew it'd take a big bag to win. So we didn't want to get caught up bed fishing, and we had an early boat flight, so we had a short day. So we just tried to time our best areas up at the best time of day, and that's what we did.
Josh, you talked about the area that you went to. You don't fish there a lot. Was the water being drawn down? Did that play into your decision to start in that area or not?
Oh, 100%. I think I said it in interview after the tournament that we traditionally like the water to be down here. I mean, I just feel like it always to us, I feel like it positions them better. I mean, once the water gets up and they can go in their spawning flats and all that, it spreads them out. So what happens when the water comes up, like in May, you saw a lake that didn't produce like it can with Chip and Nick winning last year, what, 16 and a half?
Mm-hmm.
And that's about right because it spreads everything out. And, you know, coming here before the water comes up, or, you know, back before the boat traffic was so bad, when you go in June, when everything is settled back down after the spawn, it's really good too. Traditionally that May area just gets so tough right when the water comes up. People like fishing here because you get a lot of bites, but catching bigger fish is just not easy.
Right. I knew you mentioned that in the wrap up that's not an area of the lake that y'all fish quite a bit. What time did you have the limit that you weighed in, Paul?
Probably by 1:30, I guess 1:45. We caught one pretty late. I think it was our smallest fish we went in, but pretty late, probably 1:30, I would say, something like that.
All right. Could you talk about some of the lures that you used?
We used a bunch of stuff really. We started out catching them on top water, Carolina rig, crankbait, and then moved to just really fishing shallow later in the day, chatterbait, stuff like that. Just targeting, trying to catch the largemouth. You know, just going for big largemouth because we knew we had to have them.
Okay. Wanted to talk a little bit about, y'all live there. Y'all know that lake probably is good or better than most of the people that was in that field yesterday or Saturday. 1952 to take the win, and then let's see here, 13-16 is what it took to get a check. Does that seem about right for this time of the year?
That's exactly about right. I actually took a little bit more to get a check than I thought, but there's so many. I still think there's still a lot of pre-spawners. That way, you know, it kind of bumped it up a little bit to 13. I thought, I'm always wrong in these things. I thought 12 and a half would get a check. So I guess pretty close, but it's always more than what you think, you know.
I don't have written down what I guessed. Luke guessed 22 for the win and 12.75 to get paid. So he was close on the getting paid. He wasn't as close on the win. I know he didn't pick y'all. I just want to point that out. I did, by the way. I did. Matter of fact, I picked y'all and Terry Tucker and Jeremy Green. Y'all finished 1 and 2. So I'm going to say I know more about the Alabama Bass Trail than Luke does. I'm just going to put that out there. You guys have been to the Bassmaster Team Championship a couple of times. I know your goal is to win AOI. Had a rough start to the year. This really puts you in good position to make that top 9. You're 27 points out of 9th place right now. You've punched your ticket to Lay Lake. You can go ahead and prepare for that. What do you do now? What's the next step? I mean, we're coming up on the Alabama River. You got you fall at the end. What's the plan now? Josh, I'll let you start.
I'd really like to catch them at the Alabama River, to be honest with you. That place is kind of had our number. I like going there. I think Paul likes going there. Fishing the Coosa River and little smaller, narrower river systems is, I don't know, it's fun. I enjoy it. But catching them there would be kind of nice. I mean, not necessarily to win. I mean, of course we're gonna go to win, but actually catch them there would be nice for a change.
All right, Paul.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about. I mean, we want to fish a lake, of course. I mean, we live on Logan Martin, but that's kind of us, our home lake. I guess we fish it more than anywhere. So we wanted to do that. So now that that's in the bag, we can. I mean, we've kind of changed our ways. We kind of swing for the fence anyway now. So, but we'll be doing it even more, trying to win, not as much worried about the points because I don't think there's any chance of us winning AOI. So, maybe top 9 would be nice, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I know Josh had mentioned that to me in a different conversation that you guys have kind of changed up how you're fishing. You either You either are in that top 10 in the finish, or you're kind of way down, that you're just always going out there swinging for the fence now. Was that because you wanted this win? You wanted an Alabama Bass Trail win? You needed to get that monkey off your back? Because honestly, anybody you talk to is surprised. Like Luke Duncan could not believe y'all didn't have a win. He's like, they're just so good. And I'm like, I know, but this whole field is tough. I mean, and we're seeing new names at the top of the points race. We're seeing new names in the top 25. You know, is that why you kind of changed your strategy a little bit?
We
Yeah,
kind of, not for that, but it's hard to win these days. Panoptics has changed the game. It's a lot of people that don't have the wisdom we do. The years of knowledge has leveled the playing field. So we just try to fish to our strengths, and I don't know. I say we. I mean, yeah, we want to win every one of them. We try to fish to win every one of them. We don't play it safe anymore. We just, try to win. If we don't, we don't. But I guess that's how we've changed. We've definitely, we don't play it safe anymore.
Okay. Josh, you got anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, a couple of years ago we were, I think, leading the AOI going into the river, maybe something like that. And of course, that was in the flood when I think Wesley and Brian won, and we didn't have a real good practice, and it kind of opened my eyes. I kind of went back and did some math and some history on it. And on the way back, I called Paul. I said, why did we just do that? Because you've got to catch the crap out of them every time to win the angle. Basically, in the South, you've got to average a top 25. Over the last several years, average a top 25 in every tournament to win AOI. So at that point, why would you ever so-called play it a little safer, in my opinion? Because the minute you finish 50th or 60th, you're out of the game in the AOI. So you might as well just try to catch them as good as possible and take a few more chances.
That's been a debate in the North and South. The South has always led as far as the number of overall anglers of the year that y'all have compared to the North Division. And I've heard some people very close to y'all say, it's because all of the lakes in the South fish the same, that they don't have the difference in having to go from the Tennessee River to the Coosa River. What's your thoughts on that? We'll start with you, Josh.
I mean, I halfway agree, but the years that you've got 3 Tennessee River tournaments, they're all fishing the same. And then you go to Neely Henry or you go to Weiss, I kind of get it, but those fish the kind of the same. In the South, I mean, no, they don't fish the same. I mean, it's kind of been proven the south end of the Coosa in the fall or early pre-spawn is a Panoptics kind of deal, and then you've moved to Logan Martin and you don't necessarily have to use it. It can be one doing that, as we saw in 100 in January. And then Lake Martin's completely different, and then Alabama River's completely different than all of them. So I guess you could halfway make that argument, but not really, in my opinion. To me, the South End fishes more diverse because, I mean, on the Tennessee River, 3 lakes, it's going to be one offshore every time. Doesn't matter, or on a bridge at Gunnersville or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you can kind of eliminate that. But I get. I mean, it's going to be an argument between people all the time anyway. So I kind of disagree.
Fishermen argue? Surely not.
No.
Surely not. Paul, I know you do a lot of work on boats. I mean, that's your specialty outside of fishing. The Panoptics, you kind of talked about that a little bit. I know that you probably do a lot of rigging, probably do a lot of working on those graphs and things like that. Do you see what is your opinion of that with forward-facing sonar? Are you for it, against it?
I mean, kind of mixed emotions. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, you don't just put it on your boat and go catch them like, the best of the best at it. It's far from that, but mm-hmm. it hurts people like us that, fish for years and have knowledge and wisdom. And then it just, you throw all that out, and you know, these kids can just use Panoptics all day and catch them. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just completely changed the game. I mean, we're trying to get better at it. We're not good. I mean, we're really not good at all with it, but we're trying to use it more, because if you don't, you're going to be left behind.
Well, I noticed in a couple other tournaments when we've covered y'all before, you have been using it. Did it play a role in your win on Saturday?
It did, actually.
No, I'm not. Yes and no.
One, one, one time.
One time? Was that
Really
an
didn't.
early morning deal or late afternoon?
It was later in the day. I mean,
Okay.
I don't even think we had it on till maybe on up in the morning. But it kind of did on one fish. But for the most part, we didn't even look at it.
Okay. To me, in team tournaments, it's a little bit different than when you've got a co-angler in the back of the boat. You know, a lot of times you guys are both on the front of the boat. We actually got to see you catch a fish on the drone from the back of the boat, and it was obvious that you were not looking at your screen and you were not looking at that fish. And it was pretty cool to see that blow up happen right there on the drone. I don't know that we've ever caught a fish catch on the drone. That was pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did you go back and watch it? I told you to go back and watch it.
I had several people send me screenshots of it.
Oh,
I still
good.
haven't. Yeah, but I saw some screenshots. It looked pretty cool.
Good. It was cool. It's cool to get to watch you guys do what you do on a lake that you know so well. That always plays into who we put trackers and who we put cameras and all that. Is the guys that have the knowledge in the on the lake. Looking at the points race, a lot of familiar faces up there. Mark McKeag, Tim Hurst currently leading. Tyler Malone, Cade Law, CJ Knight, Anthony Goggins. Skipping on down, Lucas Lindsay, Brendan Holt had a phenomenal year leading up to this event. Didn't have quite the tournament they had hoped for. Brian Adamson, Ryan Lloyd, they've always been in the top 9 in the Alabama Bass Trail. I'm not sure there's ever been a year they haven't made the team championship in the South Division. Rob Lee, Steve Winslet, they are good. Brian and Ryan, they catch them just about everywhere we go. They have a win on the Alabama River. I'm sure that they're probably eyeballing that next tournament. Then you got Noah and Cole Godwin, and then Terry Tucker and Jeremy Green. So there's a few new names up there, but pretty much the roster that we normally see in the top 9 is still there. 27 points separates you guys from being able to make the Bass Team Championship in the Alabama Bass Trail. So I know y'all will definitely be putting in your work. Any thoughts on the rest of the season? Which one of those lakes are you most looking forward to getting to? Alabama River or Lake Eufaula?
I guess with our history, probably Eufaula. We've had some good tournaments there. But again, like I said, I do like going to the Alabama River for some reason. We just haven't caught them. I don't know why, but we just haven't yet. But I like all the lakes we go to. You know, it's fun to fish them.
Yeah. How about you, Mr. Paul?
Eufaula for sure. Yeah, I like it down there. Good time of year. And Alabama River's all right too. It's just hard usually, so we don't have a good track record down there. But maybe we can change it around this year. So we'll see. But yeah, Eufaula for sure.
Well, one of the things that I want to mention to you guys, I've had a chance to spend some time with y'all, see you at dinner, on and off at different places. But I always say one of the telltale signs of if a team is appreciated or recognized for their accomplishment is when you post about them on social media. So I posted a new champion alert. I guess that was Saturday night, and it had 418 likes, 41 comments, and 13 shares. That seems to tell me that y'all do something right and that people appreciate what you do and think that you do things the right way. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we do really appreciate that. We try to do things the right way for sure.
And I think there's been so much negative around our industry and around our sport. I think it's good when you see something like that and you see a lot of people comment on it. I know Mark tipped his hat to you on the stage the other day. I'm sure you've received several emails and text messages. I have. As the weigh-in is going on, everyone was texting me going, man, I hope this holds up. These guys are good guys. They can catch them. I hope they get their first win. So that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I've had
most definitely.
tons of text messages.
Good. Well, I do appreciate y'all taking time to spend with me today. I feel a little ill prepared because I love to look at these numbers. I did want to mention something to y'all since y'all are from Logan Martin. I mentioned this in the top part of the podcast. 99 bags were weighed in between 9 and 11 pounds. So that was pretty cool. 210 limits. We had 219 teams that fished on Saturday. 210 limits. I mean, the lake is just full of bass.
I think the lake is as healthy as it's been in probably 10 years. I knew back before the 100, I was off between Christmas and New Year's and just fished a few days, and the amount of different size fish that are in the lake is really incredible. You can just tell it's healthy. You know, it's not all 4 and 5 pounders, which everybody wants, but that don't mean the lake's healthy. Catch a lot of 2 pounders, a lot of 2.5 pounders, and the spotted bass are finally getting a little bit bigger. They're still not big enough to win 100% with them unless you get an outlying situation like we had in the 100 with it being so cold. But it's definitely as healthy as I've seen it in a long time.
We had 1,073 fish weighed in, 413 largemouth, 660 spots. Does that surprise you at all?
That's good. No, there's a lot of largemouth in it too. It just, like I said, it's as healthy, and you can catch them from dam to dam too. It's not a specific area of the lake anymore.
Paul, any thoughts there from you?
Oh, that's more largemouth. I mean, I hadn't looked at those numbers. That's more largemouth than you didn't historically. So they're definitely that population is a lot better right now, which is good. So yeah, it's exciting.
I actually went back and looked at the 2023 numbers because I wasn't at that event and I wanted to compare. So in 2023, we only had 210 teams that fish, but we had 536 largemouth, 376 spotted bass. So actually more largemouth weighed in 2023, but this was the number that got me. In 2023, we had 2 bass weighed in over 5 pounds. In 2024, we had 11 bass weighed in over 5 pounds. Does that surprise you at all?
Maybe a little, but
It's been
I mean, it's just been taking so much to win here too. And I think that kind of had to do with the time that we come this time, because like I said, when you go in that May situation, they get a little more spread out. So probably not really don't surprise me. No, because I mean, you're still in a more pre-spawn situation in my opinion. So that's about right, probably.
Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all for taking time today to spend with me on the podcast. Congratulations on your first win on the Alabama Bass Trail. Big payday, over $25,000 for this win on a $320 entry fee. That's pretty dadgum good. Pretty good.
Yes, it is.
Y'all made a lot more than I did Saturday. That's for sure. That's for sure. But anyway, congratulations. Punching your ticket to the championship on Lay Lake later on this year in October. Looking forward to that. But we will see y'all again in just a few weeks down on the Alabama River for the 4th stop. Thank y'all for taking time with me today.
Yes,
we
thank you for
appreciate
the
it.
tournament.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Nobody wants to run out of power when they're on the water. There is a better way. Introducing the Charge Marine Power Management Station from Pell that does the work of 3 devices: a traditional battery charger, a charge on the run, and an emergency start system. Pell Charge.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. There they are. Josh Chapple, Paul Davis, 1952 to take home the win on their home pond, one of their home ponds. Paul mentioned they consider Lay Lake their home pond. I know a lot of the tournaments that they fish are on that Coosa River chain, but they've proven they can win in the North Division as well. Paul's mentioned this several times. They are the only team that has been able to stand on the podium, first, second, or third in the North, the South, the ABT 100s, and our championship. So they can flat catch them anywhere they go, and it's good to see them finally get a win there on the Alabama Bass Trail. So congrats to them. Big time tournament. I mentioned a little bit of the stuff about the bait report and all that in the beginning of the podcast, but just looking through the standings, guys. I mean, there's a lot of new names up there in that top 15 or 20. Certainly Tyler Malone, Cade Law, they're going to continue to get cameras, dude. Like they're only 17 points outside the lead in the Angler of the Year. Then you've got CJ Knight, Anthony Goggins, longtime Alabama Bass Trail team right there. Jeff Jennings, Mitchell Jennings, Lucas Lindsay, Brendan Holt. They fell from first to fifth. They're not done. I mean, those guys, you're going back to the lakes that they probably fished quite a bit, the Alabama River and Lake Eufaula. Ryan Adams and Ryan Lloyd, you got to look at them going into this next event. They won on the Alabama River last year in June. Rob Lee, Steve Winslet, they, our team you always have to keep your eye on in the Alabama Bass Trail South Division. Noah and Cole Godwin never have made it to the Bass Team Championship, and that's what they have their goal on this year. They have their eyes on that prize. Terry Tucker, Jeremy Green, they now fish the North and the South Division, and you got to know they're looking forward to Wheeler coming up in a couple weeks and then turning around and headed back down to the river. So, and just looking, John Pollard, Tim Watkins, they are in 11th place there. Our winners from Lake Jordan, Eric Summers and Robbie Pelt, kind of flying under the radar in that 12th position. And then a team, I think anyone that knows Alabama Bass Trail knows you got to keep your eye on them. That's Chris Rutland and Kobe Carden. They're at 558 points in the AOI. So looking at the 75th place, let's take a look and see what's holding in 75th place so we know kind of where the mark is. Got a tie for 74. So 403 points right now is what it's going to take to get you in there. So going to be an interesting, a brutal 27 points from 17th to 9th. So we've seen 80-point swings in the points when we go to the Alabama River. So the drama of the Alabama Bass Trail is not over yet. So don't even think that the drama of the AOI is over yet. So, but in this segment, I want to talk about a couple of things. I mentioned a little bit in that podcast about the negativity that's been going around in our industry. I've received several emails over the course of the last few days regarding a situation with a failed polygraph. It was not in the Alabama Bass Trail. I'm happy to say we've never had a failed polygraph in the Alabama Bass Trail. We have had some disqualifications in the Alabama Bass Trail, but none stemmed from a failed polygraph. And I want to use the word failed very loosely because in my time running the Alabama Bass Trail in this 11 years, every polygraph examiner that I've spoken with does not use the word failed. They use the word deception, that they had a deceptive polygraph. They had deception in certain answers to certain questions. No polygraph examiner has ever mentioned to me that someone failed. They have a wide margin of deception. And then we can decide if that margin of deception is within what we would call acceptable. Typically, if they see deception in a polygraph, they will reword a question and ask it later on. There are several ways that polygraph examiners use things to see if they can foul someone up if they feel like that they're being deceptive. But I want to say that traditionally each year we use anywhere from 2 to 3 different polygraph examiners, and we do that by design. We don't ever want someone to get so comfortable when they walk in that trailer that they're going to see their old buddy that's polygraphed them 100 times. So we do that consciously. It is something that we don't take lightly. The integrity of our trail is extremely important to us. So we do choose to shake up our polygraph examiner. So I've been asked that question. We have not received a deceptive polygraph. We have not disqualified someone based on a failed or deceptive polygraph. We have DQ'd teams for various reasons. And some are very innocent, and some are not. And so, just saying that, I just want to say that if these anglers submitted themselves to a polygraph, which is required by most organizations before they pay out the winnings or proceeds, and they were found to have a very wide margin of deceptive answers, then they did what they needed to do. And so I am not one to go out on social media and talk about those kinds of things. So you'll very rarely see me do that, if ever see me do that. I take the Alabama Bass Trail to heart, and all the other tournaments are not my business. You know, I certainly pay attention because we don't want people who have had deceptive polygraphs fishing with us. And we do have a clause that says we can prevent them from fishing with us. And we have done that in the past. So I'm not saying that, that anyone's right or wrong for going out and slamming these people or posting about these people. But that's just not something that you're going to see the Alabama Bass Trail or any of our team doing. So, but I just wanted to clear up a few things and say why we do it the way we do. And I see constant comments about how they're not admissible in court, and that is false. They are admissible in court, but it does have to be agreed upon with both the plaintiff's attorneys and the defendant's attorney. So if that is agreed upon, then it can be admissible in court. So I just want to clear up a little misconception about that as well. All right, let's talk a little bit about fishing throughout the state of Alabama. I mean, it is in full blown chaos right now. Fishing tournaments going on all over the state of Alabama. My mom used to ask me all the time when we'd be driving somewhere to a tournament or coming back, we would see a boat on the water or a boat on the road, and she'd say, "Kay, is that one of our guys?" And I have no idea. I mean, there's 225 boats, 450 boats in Alabama Bass Trail, and I don't know all of them. But coming home this weekend, if I didn't see someone coming home from Tuscaloosa from a day, then I saw a boat on the road. A lot of spring breakers, a lot of campers and RVs, but a ton of boats traveling the highways, both I-20 and I-65 on my way home. So fishing is in full session. The only tournament that I could really find results from that was local would be the Tennessee River Team Trail that happened on my home lake, Decatur, Alabama, on Wheeler Lake. And the reason I'm talking about that is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We'll be at Wheeler for the Alabama Bass Trail. This tournament had 52 boats. It is guys that fish out the Tennessee River all the time. That's why they like the Tennessee River Team Trail. They don't have to travel. They love fishing just on the Tennessee River. 2171, 631 was the big fish. They had it in their bag. Tyler Finley and Chris Kistler took home the win there. I have no idea how much money they took home. I didn't see any winnings report from that, but looks like they had a tie in last place, maybe. I was looking to see. Well, let's just talk about 40th place. That's what it would have taken to get a check in the Alabama Bass Trail. 937 in 40th place. It's not going to be that way when the Alabama Bass Trail rolls into town. This is a team trail, but I have a feeling our weights are going to be a little bit higher and certainly a little bit heavier to get a check. I would say it's going to take 15 pounds probably to get a check in the Alabama Bass Trail, but I'm going to know that a little bit later when we do a podcast about Wheeler Lake. So I do want to say how incredibly impressed I was with the group at Logan Martin at Lincoln Landing. The staff was amazing. Michael Morris and his team did an amazing job for us. They were there early in the morning. They helped us get people through the payout line for the kiosk. They ran golf carts. They did everything we could possibly ask them to do. They were phenomenal. So to the mayor, city council there in the city of Lincoln, props to you for keeping quality, motivated people working at a facility that you spent a ton of money on. It is one of the premier fishing destinations throughout the state of Alabama, and the lake equally matches that facility. 210 limits out of 219 boats. Pretty impressive. So just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. And I got to go to the distillery, and I got to have some of the deep fried banana pepper rings, which was phenomenal, just as I remember them from back in January. So I do want to say Anglers Point, it's right there by the boat ramp. We had several anglers that stayed there. We had a few anglers that stayed in the campground. It's very conveniently located. Little different. I mean, it was raining. They're not finished with construction. So a little bit of hard things for the anglers to be able to get their boats in to charge them and all that kind of stuff. But that will get better as they finish construction on the phases and different things like that. But so convenient to the ramp. And I really enjoyed my stay there. So thanks to Tina for taking good care of me while I was there. It was a great experience. So we are just 2 weeks away from the Alabama Bass Trail North Division Tournament on Wheeler Lake. I think it's going to be a good one. I am really looking forward to it. I get to stay in my home, as you hear, my home bed, and I don't have to travel very far. So I'm looking forward to that. I think this tournament is going to be one similar to the South. I think you're going to see some big points jumps there. Um, Damian Willis, Tyler Kiker currently leading that, I think, by a very narrow margin of 4 to 5 points. And they're going to have to catch them here. And they've either done really, really well or done not so well. And so, I think they can be somewhere in the middle and still be okay in that top 9. But I think they're going to have to catch them here to stay there because the people that are right behind them, Fisher Anaya and Ryan Anaya, they catch them here. So they're going to have to catch them to stay in front of them. So that's going to be interesting. We will have 5 hours of live coverage here on Wheeler Lake just as well as we did at Logan Mart as well. We are just 3 weeks away from announcing the 2025 ABT schedule. It will go live on May the 3rd at 10 o'clock a.m. It will be your North-South and your championship schedule. Entry fees stay the same for the 2025 season. $1,600. You'll have a $600 deposit if you choose to go that route. Remember, that is a non-refundable deposit, and then the $1,000 would be due by December the 20th, I believe is the date. And that is different from the year before, but we're also starting our season way earlier than we have started it in the past. So just a reminder there. So be watching for that on alabamabastrail.org as well as on our social media channels. We're 3 weeks away from that. Looking forward to seeing what year 12 has in store for us. But until then, we have a big rest of the year planned. Live coverage just keeps getting better and better. Thank you to everyone who is watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking what we're doing. I want to thank Darian, Luke, Jason, Brenton, Ben, Russell, Kenny, all of the great people at WOTM for just knocking it out of the park on these different shows. They've just been great to work with. It's been a lot of fun getting to know a lot of new things in the live production area. So it's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting online with Luke later on this week to record the Wheeler Lake podcast. I will be leaving to go out of the country on Friday, the 19th of April, for a short vacation. It's hard to squeeze them in the middle of the season, but it is definitely needed and wanted. And I'm looking forward to spending some time, just some downtime, and kind of reinvigorating myself and rejuvenating myself and getting ready to finish the season off on a big way. So give you an update on UAB baseball. They traveled to Houston, Texas to play Rice University. They won 1 out of 3 games, which is not great for conference. But one game did go 15 innings and ended up getting beat 4-3 on Saturday. So a lot going on in the baseball world right now too. So looking forward to maybe getting to see Jake on Tuesday. As you're listening to this, they'll be playing the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So looking forward to seeing him there. But it's been a busy morning. It is going to be a busy rest of the day. I mentioned on the podcast, this is check day. So this is how many envelopes I get to send out here in just a little bit. So it's going to be fun. I love being able to write little notes to everybody and thank them for fishing with us. And I want to thank you for watching. I hope you will subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcasting app. Please inbox me any topics that you would like for me to cover, or if you guessed you would like for me to have on, I'd love to do that as well. Always interested in what our fans like to hear about. But I know you always want to hear from the team that won the tournament and how they did it. And that was a good one today. Josh, Chapple, Paul Davis, thanks to them. I know they are still kind of on cloud 9. I would be too. They worked really hard to get that win and to have it on their home lake and in a body of peers that they have there. I know that was pretty special. So congratulations again to them. Please get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather we're going to experience in the state of Alabama over the course of the next week. Going to be 85 degrees here today. We're going to see a small drop over the weekend, and then hopefully the temperatures will stabilize by the time we get to Wheeler on the 27th. But I do wish you all the best. I hope to see you in the great state of Alabama soon. And until then, God bless, good fishing, go Blazers. And as Big Daddy always said, get outside. Get outdoors. Big Daddy said get outdoors, not outside. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thanks for listening to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast. To learn more about the Alabama Bass Trail, make sure and visit alabamabastrail.org.